guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is a vintage one. Today I'm going to be reading a manners book from 1911. I dressed up, I have a fireplace, and today we're going to learn about polite manners for little men and women. The first chapter is all kinds of children. The manners of children in this present day and age are not what they should be, or even what they were a generation ago. It is an undisputable fact. But how can parents expect their boys and girls to be models of politeness unless they train them? Children in their natural state, allowed to grow up without definite systematic attention, are mere barbarians. Young children are a blank sheet of paper upon which every impression of things seen or heard or felt leaves its work for good or bad. According to the manners they see about them and the examples given to them, so do they profit. In these modern times, fathers and mothers have a way of declaring that they intend to do more for their children than what was done for them, and they do less. By doing more, they mean that they will be more indulgent, that their children will have all the luxuries of frills and sweets that were denied to them, that their children will never have to work as they had to work. They were raised outdoors like hardy plants and learned to fight and conquer adverse weather. They are making little house plants of their children by shielding and protecting them from every blast. They indulge them and pamper them and spoil them. They give them all the rich food they crave because they love them. They spoil their stomachs and dispositions alike in the name of parental love, and they load their little bodies with the fine raiment and fill their little heads with nonsense about the nobility of fine clothes. If the parents of today can look with pride on this product of indulgence and boast that they did more for their children than their parents did for them, they are blind to the results. If their own parents were harsh in their commands and discipline, if they indulged them but little, at least it cannot be said of them that they pursued a system calculated to make weaklings and peacocks of their offspring. If this unrestrained indulgence in ruffles and soda water is a sign of the progress of civilization, a proof of greater parental devotion, then destruction awaits at the end. Wow, that's deep, bro. Chapter 2. The Child at Home. Where courtesy prevails at home, the young will be polite naturally, and they will preserve this good breeding wherever they are. Again? Children must never be allowed to have two sets of manners, one for home and one for public. And yet it is sad to be compelled to say that there are families all over our land who neglect to teach these small sweet courtesies of every day to those beneath their roof, who allow them to talk boisterously, romp all over the house at unseemly hours, shout to each other, and commit a dozen such breaches of etiquette merely because they're at home. The habit of being courteous cannot be learned by arbitrary rules, but must be the outgrowth of home practice. If one is agreeable, civil, kind there, it will be very easy to do it elsewhere. Another evil to be avoided in the home circle is the habit of discussing bad stories or silly gossip. A son reared under the roof tree, where evil speaking is indulged in, goes into the world poorly equipped to take up the cudgel in a defense of the innocent till they look with distrust upon all. No silly gossip in your house. When it comes to children at home, you must have the appropriate furnishings. A house with children, it should be shorn of all useless and ugly bric-a-brac and knickknacks. No knickknacks. I don't agree with that. The rooms where the children eat, sleep, play, or work should have inexpensive but bright curtains and plenty of light. Every child should have a place for its books and toys, and every evening after play and before bedtime should be made to put its things away. For each offense of not putting an article away, the best punishment is to deprive it of the article for a few days, and it should only be allowed to have it on the distinct promise to put it away. The room in which children play should, in wintertime, be kept at a temperature of 65 to 70 degrees. No more, no less. The bedroom where they sleep should not be over 55 degrees. I feel like that's a little cold. But I'm cold all the time. If more than one child is sleeping in a room, care should be taken to see that there is plenty of good fresh air, even if it is a little colder than 55. A child's bedroom should be very simply furnished in white, if possible, or a light blue or pink. The dresser or set of drawers should be low enough so that the child can get to it, so that it can put its own things away or get them without having to have assistance. A child should sleep on a rather hard mattress without any pillow. A hair mattress and pillow are the best, most sanitary, most healthful. Cover the children rather lightly, and never cover them as heavy as you would a grown-up. You're making their room be 55 degrees and you're not giving them, like, blankets? Like, light, like, thin blankets in a 55-degree room? I'm dead. I'd die, actually. I think I would freeze to death. The don'ts for children at home. Don't when your mother says don't. Don't leave shoes and stockings on the floor. Don't forget to say good morning to every member of the family. Don't slam doors. Don't forget to be orderly. Don't forget to say excuse me. Don't forget to say if you please. Don't forget to say thank you. Don't forget the polite manners are necessary in the home. Don't rush boisterously into a room. Don't interrupt people when they are talking. Don't fail to be kind and attentive to elderly people. Don't evade the truth in any form. Don't meddle with things that don't belong to you. Don't ask a lot of needless questions. So the kids who continually ask why are not allowed, which I'm okay with because they're annoying. Don't forget to be a little man or a little woman by helping those younger and weaker. Don't forget that clothes cost money, that your father worked for it and you should be careful. Don't be untidy, empty the wash basin after using, and put things where they belong. Chapter 3. Children at School. Children should be careful not to contradict each other or their elders. Neither should they interrupt anyone who is speaking. Even very little children can remember not to step or walk in front of anyone unless absolutely unavoidable. In that case, let them never forget to say pardon me or please excuse me. When obliged to cough or sneeze, it is only civil to turn away from the person whom you is talking. A yawn must always be hidden by a hand. Chewing gum or eating candy in the presence of others is most impolite. You have to chew gum alone in a dark room. When it comes to schooling, it was different for men and women. This was 1911. Domestic training for girls. Great. Sewing. This is one of the domestic subjects now taught in many schools. A special sewing teacher gives classes instruction every day. Cooking. This is another of the new branches in the schools now. A gas stove is used, and the classes are taught by a special teacher, the same as sewing. The girls are told how to make different things, and they are shown how. House. This is the newest of all the branches in modern schools. The girls are taught how to furnish a house, what kind of curtains and rugs or carpets to use, how to clean a house, and everything there is to learn about one. In the basement of the larger schools, you will find all the latest appliances for all kinds of manual labor. A complete set of carpenter's tools, blacksmith tools, vices, lathes, and every kind of machine that is used by men who work with their hands. The boys are given something to make and provided with a pattern to make it from. They must take the raw lumber and saw and hew it until they make it conform to what they need for that particular piece of work. It may be a rocking chair, it may be a table, desk, or any other piece of furniture or woodwork. All they have to commence with some lumber and a pattern. Boys and girls should remember that they are sent to school for a purpose, and that is to gain an education. All of us went to school, your father and your mother, just the same as you are doing, and your time has come. Don'ts for children at school. Don't forget to take off your cap when you enter school. Don't pound your heels or scrape your feet when entering school. Don't forget to say good morning to your teacher. Don't chew the corners of your handkerchief. Don't put your fingers in your mouth. Don't chew gum or eat candy when there are other children present. Don't forget that you are at school to learn. Don't play so long that you haven't had time to study. Don't speak disrespectfully of your teacher at any time, even if they are a douche canoe. Don't forget to be polite to every person at all times. Don't forget that your popularity in school depends upon yourself and the way you treat others. Don't quarrel with other kids. Don't, this is for girls particularly, giggle, laugh, but not too loud. What? You're not allowed to laugh too loud? I would lose. If I get going and I find something really funny, don't worry your classmates with tricks. Don't whistle in school. Don't draw foolish pictures on the blackboard if you're alone. Don't ever let any other scholar be blamed for what you did. Don't forget to always speak the truth. Don't forget to be always open, cordial, honest, and timely. Chapter 4. Children at Play. Every child should be encouraged to have a pet, even though it may be in mama's way. Take the whole care of it yourself so that it may not annoy the other members of the family. We think there is no finer plan to draw out the better instincts of a child's nature and teach him to be gentle and protecting and self-reliant than to let him have a pet. That advice I can get behind. I am good with that one. Boys should be early made to understand that all boys are equal. No boy has any right to consider himself better than others or that he's inferior to others. So boys should be taught and made to understand for his own good that upon himself and his conduct towards other boys depends his popularity in the future. He must be unselfish, kind, and agreeable, willing at all times to join in with the majority and do his part in work or play. To little boys and girls he must be kind and help them at any time they may need help. His own feelings that he has done what was right must be his reward. Excuse me? Conduct toward girls. There's a great deal of difference between playing with boys and playing with girls. When girls are in the games, it is the duty of every boy to look after them. All roughness must be eliminated, and wherever possible, every girl should be assisted to the best of the boy's ability. Playing with girls does not make a sissy boy out of you. Some boys think that it is not manly to play with girls, but that is their mistake. It teaches boys to be gentle, kind, and thoughtful to others. Your manners should be exactly the same to girls as to boys. In fact, your manners should always be the same, whether you are at home, out visiting, or at play. No matter where you are, be your natural self. Don't try to act up. It is not always easy to be polite because someone will do things or say things that will make you angry. But this is where you will need your politeness most of all. If you too lose your temper or stoop to saying or doing things like the other one, you are no different from him. Whereas if you keep your temper and do not say anything but what is polite, you've decided advantage, and people will like you very much for your politeness. Okay. Yeah. Someone picks a fight? Don't continue the fight unless they're a bitch. Never use profane language. Make it a rule of your life never to do so. If you never have used it, it will be easy. If you have ever been guilty of swearing, stop it now. You will like yourself better if you do. I like myself just fine, shithead. Don'ts for children at play. Don't cry when you're hurt. Excuse me? What? No, that's the average reaction. Kids can cry if they get hurt, my man. Don't be a tattletale. Don't say, I don't want to, when games are proposed. So what you're saying is if a game is proposed, you have to play? That's taking away your, let me see. Free will? Don't forget to share everything with playmates. Don't quarrel when you are playing. Don't sulk or pout or scowl. Don't call others naughty names. Don't be noisy. Don't destroy things. Don't leave things around when playing. Don't soil your clothes when playing. Don't forget to play fair. Don't go around and brag about what you've done. Don't play rough when you're playing with girls. Don't forget to protect and help every child. Don't lose your temper. Don't use coarse slang. Don't forget to act politely. And these are in all caps. Don't swear. Don't smoke. Luckily, I don't smoke, and I never plan to. Swearing, however, I do more than I should. Chapter 5. Etiquette for children at parties. This chapter talks about all the different kinds of parties and how you should act at the different kinds of parties. So I'm just going to read through the average, basic, overall parties. When you're dressing to go to a party, always do your best to look neat. Be sure that you are clean and that your linen is white. Look carefully after your nails, etc. It is usual to wear your best suit or frock. Don't wear a lot of ornaments. A boy should not wear any, and a girl should only wear a very small jewel, if any at all. Be neat, tidy, and happy. When you start for the party, be in good spirits, and when you get there, join in all the fun. A youth should early acquire an ease of manner which will always be of value to him. This can be obtained by observing older people and adapting their ways. Books will also help him, but contact with society will do more. Let me warn young men about paying compliments and telling jokes at parties. Compliments that are insincere and without much meaning are bad manners. Don'ts for children at parties. Don't coax a shy child to do something before others. Don't play boisterous games at parties. Don't delay answering an invitation. Don't be afraid to have a good time. Don't fail to have on clean linen when going to a party. Don't wear ornaments or jewelry. Don't forget to shake hands with your host or hostess when you arrive. Don't try to act up. Don't refuse to play or sing if asked. Don't say silly compliments. Don't forget to play with all those present. Don't sit in a corner and have to be coaxed into games, so don't be me. Don't whistle or drum on the wall or table. Don't rush to the lunch table before others. Don't forget that girls present must be seated first. Don't monopolize one girl all the time. Don't tease. Don't bite your fingernails. Don't whisper when others are present. Don't chew gum or other substances. Don't fail to do anything the host or hostess asks of you. So if they ask you to do something weird, you have to do it. Chapter 6. Disagreeable habits and traits of children. The dishonest child. There are two kinds of dishonesty in children: lying and stealing. The first one is usually caused by fear of the consequences of some act alone, for which they are often punished. In this case, it is the punishment that is to blame. The best means of overcoming this lying habit that the educators have found is to take the child gently and lovingly into a room and make them admit the falsehood and tell them how wrong it is. Hold them up to the great men and women of the world for examples of truth and ask them if they don't want to grow up and be great like them, and how they can never unless they always speak the truth. Let the child run away and play after first talking. The offense is repeated. Quietly recall the first talk to them, then keep them indoors for punishment. After this is done once or twice, and you have convinced the child that you intend to keep up the punishment or of depriving them of play, you will find that you have conquered this habit. Stealing. Fortunately, this is not a very common habit among children. The chief cause of it is denying the child something for which it craves and taking little or no heed in many requests of the same. It has been demonstrated that what a child wants and will steal to get loses more than half its value if given without a murmur. If a child steals things from others, it must be talked to as in the case of lying. Find out why it stole the article and show what such things lead to in the end. Indolent children. An easy habit to overcome if you go about it right. Every boy and girl likes to do something or likes some particular line, such as pets, drawing, flowers, etc. It is not hard to find out what they like best, but when you do, indulge the lazy child in it. If it likes pets, get one, and have it understood the minute you get it that its entire toilet and feeding is the child's work. You will be surprised at the energy they develop. Some girls like housework. Not very much, just a little. Begin by giving them one little thing to attend to every day. In a week, add a little more to it, and in comparatively short time, your lazy girl will have changed into a good helper. Temper. A quick, ungovernable temper is not as destructive to a child in the home as the nagging, carping spirit that is continually complaining and whining. A temper that is like a tornado in its violence at least clears the air as it passes and is usually followed by quick repentance and ready reparation, but the other keeps up continually. Never give in to one who displays temper at some little thing. Be firm in your position, but endeavor to make them forget their temper by doing other things. The crying child. When a child cries for something, don't humor it by giving it what it wants. It will cry very hard the first few times, but as soon as it realizes that crying will do no good, it will quit. If it is possible, try and interest it in something else. Don't spank a child for crying for something it wants. If it will not be appeased by anything else, let it cry out. Prompt obedience should always be demanded of a child, and the spirit of murmuring and questioning quickly and firmly suppressed. Disobedience is the outcome of failure to train the child early in life. If you have neglected this early training, you have trouble ahead, and the sooner you start, the sooner you will become accomplished. You must talk plainly and firmly to the child and exact a promise to be obedient. If it fails to keep its promise on the next occasion, then a series of punishments must be arranged for it. The greatest punishment you can give a child is not with a whip, but to keep it in the house when its playmates are out playing. Chapter 7. Etiquette at the table. Now this is going to go into like how you use a napkin and a knife and when you can use fingers. And one of the sections is how to eat green corn. There's a specific way to eat green corn, I guess. The spoon. So I'm just going to skip some of this and go to the what things you should not do. Because there's just way too much if I go through every detail. Never be late for your meals. It is wrong to your mother and the rest of the family. If you are dining out at the home of some friend, never seat yourself at the table until your host or hostess is seated. Never sit away from the table, nor sit jammed up against it. Never tuck your napkin under your chin or spread it upon your breast. Never ask for a second helping of soup. Never break bread into your soup. Never break crackers into your soup. No crackers in soup. I love crackers in my soup, man. Never bend over your plate or drop your head to get a mouthful. Sit up straight, but don't look stiff. Never eat with your knife. Never put your knife in your mouth. Never load up your fork with food by using your knife for the purpose. The knife's only for cutting. You're not allowed to do anything else with it. It's unmannerly if you do. Don't stab food with a fork. Gingerly poke it. Take plenty of time when you're eating. Haste is both vulgar and unhealthy. Avoid taking huge mouthfuls and do not make a noise when you're eating. Keep your elbows close to your side. When drinking, bring your glass directly to your mouth. Never throw your head back, like you're taking a shot. The universal rule is to not eat anything with a spoon that can be eaten with a fork. Never talk with your mouth full. Never rest your elbows on the table. Never lean on the table. Never use a toothpick at the table. In all caps. To every young man and every young lady, do not take wine. Not allowed. Never drink from your saucer. Never butter a whole slice of bread. Breaking it into half or even quarter slices is the proper way. Never yawn or sneeze at the table. If you must, be sure to turn away. Never blow your nose at the table. You may take your handkerchief and wipe it if you must, but don't do it unless absolutely necessary. If you leave the table before the meal is finished, always ask to be excused. Never complain of the food set for you to eat. So if you hate it, eat it anyway. If older people are at the table, do not interrupt their conversation. If you have something to say, do not shout it. Talk in a natural way. Do not scratch your hair. Don't touch it. Chapter 8. Polite manners when visiting. When a boy or girl, a young man or young woman goes away on a visit, there are many things that they should know. In the first place, write and tell the party you are going to visit, what train and what line you're going to travel by. Then, if it is convenient for them, they will meet you at the station. As soon as you have made up your mind to go, begin and get your things together. You will know what to expect when you get there, so pack your grip or traveling bag with just things to use. When you arrive at the house you are to visit, be sure and act politely. The boy should take off his hat and keep it off while he's talking to the mother of the boy he's visiting. He will be told that they are glad he came, and she hopes that they will have a good time. You must not expect that you are some very particular personage that has arrived, and that people should jump and wait on you. Don't when you are on a visit. Don't forget that you must help yourself when on a visit. You haven't your mother there to advise you. Don't forget to observe which chair belongs to the different members of the household. Don't rush into a car and push aside people in your eagerness. Don't lounge in a seat with your legs stretched out. Don't fail to write and tell your friend what hour and train you will be on. And vice versa. Don't tilt your chair backwards. Don't forget to be polite. Don't be late for meals. Just basic stuff. Number 9. Polite manners for little men everywhere. So I'm going to skip to the section called How to Become a Manly Man, because that's all we need. I believe every boy wants to become a manly man. I've known in the past 10 years fully 2,000 to 3,000 schoolboys of various ages, and I don't believe among the whole lot there was one who did not want to be a manly man. I have told these same boys what is necessary to become one. Every boy has a chance to become a great man, and it depends much upon his early life what he becomes in the future. A great philosopher and student of human nature was once asked what the greatest word in the English language. What word would you say? Do you know? Think hard. He said the word resist. When you have an inclination to do anything mean or naughty, play hooky, or anything that you know is not right, resist the temptation. At first you will not find it easy, but with little practice you will find that you can resist all temptations without any trouble at all. Smoking and chewing are deadly foes to healthful growth. Do not use tobacco. There is something unwholesome and repellent about a boy who uses tobacco in any form. He loses his manliness and vigor, and his sense of right and wrong becomes perverted. Don't forget to read and remember the don'ts in this book. Don't forget that it is manners and not birth that makes gentlemen. Don't forget that your mother and sister are entitled to all the little courtesies you would offer to any other lady and more. Don't call your father the governor or the old man. Don't expect people on the street to look out for you. Don't rush in front of a team, car, or automobile. You may get hurt. Don't forget when to raise your hat. Don't forget that you are the guardian of every lady who needs your assistance. Don't smoke. Don't drink intoxicating beverages. Don't forget that you live just as good a chance as any other boy of becoming famous. Don't forget that a man can be honorable and poor. Don't forget that money is not the best thing in the world. Don't forget to save 10 cents of every dollar you earn the first 10 years you work. Don't forget that saving money is going to have a great deal to do with your future. Don't meddle with other people's property. Don't forget the obey thy parents. Don't forget that I have said about the word resist. Chapter 10, the final chapter we're going to be going over today. Polite manners for little women everywhere. There is a typo. Oh my god. Do you see that? Instead of 4, it's an E. Instead of an F. How girls should dress. Be neat and cleanly, both in mind and body. Take scrumptious care of your teeth and fingernails. Your clothes may not be of the richest material, but if they are made neatly and are kept in perfect repair, that is all that is necessary. Your everyday toilet is part of your character. A girl that looks like a furry or sloven in the morning is not to be trusted. Be frank, easy, and cordial in your manners. Do not fear to show that you have a heart. Do not hesitate to say a kind word to this one or perform a trifling act of courtesy for that one. Give a cheery word to the aged one whose journey is almost over. Speak the timely word to the sad-faced man or woman whose loneliness was well-meant effort with cheer. Do not be afraid to let the sunshine of your happy soul flow out and permeate all you meet. Be careful, frank, natural, and give royally of the rich treasures of your generous soul. Young ladies need not shake hands. A young lady should not shake hands on being introduced. A modest bow is sufficient. At a second meeting, 2 ladies may offer their hands, but ladies seldom extend their hands to gentlemen, save to their most intimate friends. Choose your companions with great care, and select those for intimates who will not lower your moral tone. Shrink from contact with the coarse and impure, and do not choose your companions for the money their parents possess, but for their true worth and agreeable manners. Time is money. It is almost impossible for a girl to learn the value of time. If you have an occasion to enter a place of business, state what you want and then retire as quickly as possible. You have no right to encroach upon the time of a man. Alright. Okay, well, that backtracked. Be careful of your money. When your parents give you money, or you earn it for yourself, learn to spend it judiciously. Keep your accounts accurately. Bookkeeping is a very important part of a woman's education. The women of high rank in England are careful accountants and keep a strict account of all their expenditures. The proper age for a woman to be presented to society is when she has left school and when her mind is in a measure permitted for the ordeal, and that is from 18 to 20. At least she's 18. That, yep. Up to this time, the debutante has never appeared at any gatherings outside her father's house, nor at any but informal ones, such as birthdays and christenings. I know there are times when you crave a little excitement and intend no wrong, but you can take it from one who has seen so much of what flirting has led up to, the sorrow, pain, and misery that has come from it, that I say to you in the most empathetic way, do not flirt. Did my camera die? Yes, it did. Here's my phone. There's a good-looking stranger in town who is dressed and looks like a gentleman. Be on your guard and avoid him even more than you would a rattlesnake. If that man is honorable, he will find a way to meet you as he ought to through some friend of his who knows who he is and that he is a proper young man for you to know. If he is not honorable, he will endeavor to meet you and try his best to keep you from telling anyone about it, even your mother. If you do meet this man, do not make an appointment to see him any place but your home and tell your mother and father about him. If he is a man, he will come out in the open, tell you who he is, and before you have anything to do with him, see that he has told you the truth. If you do not know anyone in the town where he speaks of, write to the chief of police of that town and find out. If you or your parents do not follow my advice on this, you are laying yourselves open to a wrecked home. Oh, I know you think that you are able to judge men, and that such a perfect gentleman could not be otherwise than good, but good, honorable men do not go to strange towns flirting with girls without a motive. To fathers, let me say, you wouldn't buy a horse or a cow without knowing his pedigree. Then why would you take a stranger at his word or on his looks? Find out. It is your duty to your daughter to find out. You may save yourself and her and your whole family untold shame and misery. Lastly, don't, for girls, don't fail to cultivate a pleasant manner. Don't fail to give everyone the proper salutation every morning. Don't forget that everything in this book regarding polite manners is just as much for you as the boys. Don't be selfish. Don't giggle. Don't forget to dress up every day. Don't sit with your legs crossed. Whoops, I'm sitting with my legs crossed right now. Don't bite your fingernails. Don't neglect your hair and keep it tidy. Don't forget to tell your mother everything. Don't flirt. Don't gossip. Don't chew gum. Don't be late for anything. Don't be envious. Don't look down on a girl who isn't as pretty as you. Don't use slang. Don't forget that beauty is only skin deep, but that politeness and graciousness of manner will outshine the greatest beauty. Don't forget that a good disposition and kind feelings toward others will make an otherwise plain girl an attractive one. And finally, don't forget to be a lady. Now, some of the advice in this book I agree with. A lot of it is basic. Don't be mean. Don't gossip about other people. Include everybody. Have manners, say thank you. That kind of stuff is like, okay, yeah, that's still stuff that people, talk about today. But there are a few things in this book that I don't agree with. But obviously, this is from 1911. This is a manner book for children from 1911. People are not the same in 2025. It was a very interesting read. I just scanned over little sections of each chapter. There are 19 chapters in this book. I only went through 10, and I only picked select sections. I did not read every single chapter in every single paragraph. I did not read every single thing. But, it's interesting to look back in time and go, this is what they thought manners were in 1911. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kind of just wanted to read this book and see what was in it. I dressed up and everything, just to look fancy, you know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back again Wednesday with another one. Alright guys, I'll see you later.